Today I'm going to show you how to repair a Roku TV. So the problem this TV is having is when I turn it on, it just displays a black screen. There will be sound on the TV, like I can hear, when I click the remote, it making noise, but there won't be any picture, and there'll still be like a blue light down here. What I believe is wrong with this is the backlight has gone out. So I'm going to replace these LED strips which make up the backlight in this TV. If you're having this issue, one thing you can try is to take a flashlight and shine it up really close to the TV when it's on and see if you can see a faint image. And that will indicate that it's probably the backlight. Alright, so our first step here is we're going to remove all the screws that are around the edge of the TV. So there's some Phillips screws that are around the edge. We'll also remove these legs, which are also held on by Phillips screws. And there's two more screws that are down here on the very bottom. There's also a screw right there you got to take out. And then on the other side, there's another screw right there. And then you got these screws. Just take out any screw that you see. Alright, now we're going to take this top cover off once you get all the screws on the outside. And then there's some screws that run all the way around the TV. So you got to take all these ones out. So these screws run all the way on the outside of the TV. Now, once you get all those screws out, the next step is to flip the TV over and then remove the bezel. Flip the TV back over. And we need to remove some of this other stuff, the speakers and these brackets and stuff. So this bracket should come off. Unscrew this connector. This is for the where you point the remote when you turn it on. Now we do the same thing over here. Remove this tape. This is kind of stuck on here with some sticky stuff. Just have to gently be careful. And we'll take this bracket off. And that tape. Very gently unstick it. Remove that. Down here at the bottom, there's these little plastic things that you kind of have to push out just a little bit to unclip it, I guess. Just kind of want to gently pop them out. So hopefully you can see that you're popping this little plastic piece out. Gently. Be careful not to break them. So lift the metal and separate it from the plastic. And I forgot, you have to unscrew all this other stuff. So I forgot to do that. Take these connectors out. And then you can kind of pop this part out and then just work it out. There you go. So I believe that was called a diffuser, but here are the LEDs right here. So these are what we need to replace. And if you flip it over, there's these little things that you need to unclip. So you got to take this black piece of plastic that was right here, gently peel it up, and then underneath of it is more of these things that you have to pop out. And there's one underneath these ribbon cables somewhere. Just unscrew this thing. Since I've finished popping these things out, now I can finish kind of removing this paper so that I can finally get to the point where I can replace the LEDs. And here are the LED strips, these things. And so there's screws to remove them. And then there's actually like a little plug here that you have to unplug. And here's the replacement LED ones that I got from, I think, shopjimmy.com or something. I'll put a link down in the description for them. So the way to get this connector off is you have to pull up a little bit on the white part right there, and then pull it back, and then it'll come off. Do that with each one of these. I'm going to start unscrewing them and putting the other ones in. Just try to unstick these things. Alright, so this is the new one, and you basically just need to put it in there and then line up the screw holes and put the screws back in, and then repeat the process for the rest of them, replacing them with the new ones. So I'm not going to film all that because it's kind of repetitive. And then make sure that you plug this little plug in. Alright, we've replaced all 5 LED strips. Now we're going to put this white paper reflector thing back in here. And now the next part is to put these plastic things in here. Snap those guys in. I guess those hold the paper in place or something. I don't know. Alright, once we got all these things in there, then we want to flip it over. Alright, so we need to reinstall all of these circuit boards and stuff back where they were, back where they go. And this cable goes here. Plug this cable in. And just go ahead and screw all these things back. Alright, so now we need to screw in this board. Make sure all these holes are lined up. Like that. With the ports lined up. Alright, now we're going to put up this LCD glass back up here. And we'll put the diffuser, plastic diffuser thing back in here. And then we will carefully put the other part of the TV on top of this. And then we need to go around here and kind of like snap this together. This one's outside, but it needs to be like that one. And then make sure that it's all together around the edges. of these things are flush. So you need to connect these ribbon cables. Basically have to feed it into this little thing and then close the black part down on it. Do the same with this. I'm going to attach the speaker and attach the Alright, let's go ahead and put the bezel back on. So the words are going to be down here at the bottom where all these ribbon cables are. Let's line all that up. Alright, we're going to put these screws back into that are along the edge. So along the entire edge of the TV there's screw holes to hold the bezel in. So you're just going to repeat that process around the entire edge of the TV. Alright, once we got the bezel all attached, then we need to screw in this thing, which is like what the remote, the little sensor or whatever. So there's two little dimples and then the screw goes right there. Now we're going to do the speakers, and the way the speakers sit in here is like, you kind of sit down and there are little holes right there. There appears to be only one of these screws for each speaker, which I don't understand. And there's a screw that goes right there. Two more screw holes, one is right here. And then one is over here. The good thing to do is to label where your screws go, because otherwise... And you do the same over here for this speaker. So the next part is to put this bracket, I think the legs attached to this. And there's little dimples right here that you have to line up. And then you want to hook it in here into that little hole. Like so. So we're going to do that. So there's 4 screws that go in. Then we'll just repeat the process on the other side. It's basically the same thing. Alright, the next step is to put the back cover on. And then we just want to start putting in the screws. I'm just going to finish putting the rest of these screws around the TV. So these small screws go here, 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 and there. So these kinds. And these big screws go in these spots. And I believe these kinds of screws go here and here. Alright, I have some screws left, and I think I probably put the wrong screws in the wrong holes because, let's see, there's some holes down here. There's a hole down here that needs a screw. Here, here, and then one right there, so that's 4. And 2 screws right here that I took out. So I think, I'll just have to make these screws work, but it's a good thing to make sure that you mark or keep track of like what screws go where. But as long as the TV doesn't fall apart, then it doesn't really matter that much. So the last part is going to be to put the feet on the bottom, the legs. And so you want to find where it says R on there for the right side and then L for the left side. And these 2 things will line up with these 2 holes in the middle. And it'll go like that basically, and then screw it in. And you just repeat the process with the other leg on the other side. So the last step, of course, is to plug it in and turn it on, and as you can see, it's looking great. So hopefully this was helpful for you in taking one of these Roku TVs apart that's having a backlight issue. And as always, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.